All right, so we're diving into business credit in 2025. And honestly, after looking at all this material with the AI and blockchain stuff, I'm starting to think business credit is a lot more complicated than it used to be.
Yeah, it definitely has changed a lot. And quickly, too.
Yeah, like even if I don't need a loan right now, just knowing how all this works now could be a game changer.
Absolutely. I mean, the days of just relying on your personal credit score are kind of over.
So like even if my business is basically just me, I still need to build business credit.
Exactly. Think of it this way. You yourself have a credit history, and your business, even if it's just you right now, needs to create its own history.
Okay, so like my business is its own person.
Exactly.
But why? What's the big deal about having this separate credit identity for my business?
Well, first, think of it like protection. If your business has some trouble, your house and your personal credit score won't be affected.
Okay, that makes sense.
But then on the plus side, if you have good business credit, you're more likely to get lower interest rates on loans and better terms with suppliers.
Interesting.
You could even get lower insurance premiums.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. It really is about more than just like the numbers. It's about trust.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It shows you're reliable. But on top of that, AI and all these fintech companies are getting involved in how business credit works.
Yeah, that's what kind of scares me, to be honest.
Oh, no, you don't need to be scared. It's actually making things better and more accessible.
So like how?
Well, they can analyze data way better than old systems could. For example, let's say you have an online store. AI could look at all your data, like your online reviews and even social media, to see how your business is really doing.
Right. So they look at more than just my debt and if I pay my bills on time.
Right.
Okay, so what does all this mean for me as a business owner?
Well, you might get approved for things faster. You might have loans customized to you. And even some businesses that banks wouldn't have looked at before will get a chance.
Interesting. So let's say I'm convinced and I want to start building my business credit, like right now. What's step one? I know there's the whole EIN thing and separate bank accounts and...
You're right. There are a few steps, but don't worry, it's pretty straightforward. First, you got to make your business official.
Okay.
Whether you go with an LLC or an S Corp or whatever, that formal registration is really important.
Okay, and then what about the EIN?
Right. Then you go and get your EIN from the IRS. It's basically like a social security number for your business.
Right, got it. So business is registered, I have my EIN, then what?
The next thing is to open a bank account just for your business.
Okay.
This is really important, and you should never, ever mix your personal and business money.
Okay, so separate accounts, got it. But how do lenders know what my business is doing? Who's, like, watching?
That's where the credit bureaus come in.
Okay.
The big ones like Dun & Bradstreet, Experian Business, and Equifax Business. Getting on their list is, like, the first step. They'll keep track of your business's money stuff and create your credit score.
So it's kind of like those credit reports I check for myself but for my business?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But to get a good score, I need to use credit, right?
Yeah.
That seems a little
It
backwards.
does seem that way, right? But lenders need information so they can see if you're good with money. It's like if you've never borrowed money before, how would anyone know if you'll pay it back?
Okay, that's true. So where do I even start using credit for my business?
A business credit card is a good option. And then there are vendor trade lines.
Vendor trade lines, what are those?
It's just like setting up an account with a supplier. They'll report your payments to the credit bureaus.
So it's like building my credit without taking out a big loan.
Exactly. And, those on-time payments, those are super important for your score.
Got it. So it's all about showing that my business is trustworthy, even with small things.
Exactly. And, we were talking about AI earlier, and all these new lending platforms are getting really popular, especially for smaller businesses.
Oh, yeah.
They use these algorithms to decide who gets loans, and they look at, like, your cash flow and all kinds of real-time data, which means
What?
it's a lot faster than going through a bank.
So they really look at the details of my business, not just a score.
Yeah. And it can be a lot more personalized. You might even get better terms.
Huh, that's pretty cool. But, you mentioned blockchain earlier. That's a whole other thing that sounds like really futuristic.
Yeah, blockchain lending is still pretty new, but it could change everything.
How so?
Well, imagine a system where borrowers and lenders can connect directly, without a bank in the middle.
Oh, so no middleman, maybe less fees.
Exactly.
Is that really happening, though, or is that, like, years away?
There are already companies doing this, but it's still early stages.
Yeah.
But you can see why people are excited, right? More transparency, faster and cheaper.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, before we go too far into the future,
Yeah.
there are some pretty common myths about business credit that I think we should talk about.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's really important. Like, one I hear all the time is, okay, so we've talked about using credit responsibly.
Right, but what does that actually look like?
Well, it all comes down to consistency.
Consistency.
Think of it like any relationship. If you're always late or breaking promises, people stop trusting you.
Okay, yeah.
Credit works the same way. Late payments, even small ones, can really hurt your score.
God, so even if it's just one little invoice, I should still make sure it's paid on time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Set reminders, automate what you can. Just make those on-time payments part of your routine.
Okay, on-time payments, got it.
Yeah.
What about credit utilization? I know that's important for my personal credit, but does it matter for business credit too?
Oh, yeah. It definitely matters. It's all about how much of your available credit you're actually using.
Right, right. So like the less debt I have, the better my score.
Basically. You want to keep that ratio low.
Okay, but how low? What's a good target for a business?
Aim for under 30%. So let's say you've got a business credit card with a $10,000 limit. You don't want to owe more than $3,000 on it.
Okay, 30%, got it. Any other tips for like really boosting my business credit score?
Well, you can try diversifying your credit mix.
Diversifying.
Like having different types of credit, like credit cards, vendor accounts, maybe even a small loan down the line.
Oh, okay. So just like with investments, it's good to have a mix.
Exactly. It shows lenders you can handle different types of credit, and that can open up better options for you.
Interesting. And what about those credit limit increases? Do those help?
Actually, yeah. If you increase your limit but keep your spending the same, your utilization goes down.
Oh, so it looks like I'm being more responsible even though I'm not really doing anything different.
Exactly.
That's pretty clever. Okay, so we've talked about building credit. What about protecting it? What do I do once I have a good score?
You have to keep an eye on your business credit reports.
Like, check them regularly.
Yeah, just like you do with your personal credit report, it's important to catch any mistakes.
Right. So where do I even find those reports?
The main credit bureaus all have them, Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. There are also websites like Nav that show you everything in one place.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, it makes it way easier to stay on top of things.
But what if I see something wrong on my report? Who do I call to fix it?
You have to contact the specific credit bureau that has the mistake.
Okay, so each one has its own process.
Right.
All right, so stay vigilant, review those reports, and dispute any errors I find. Anything else I should be doing proactively.
Yeah. You should also pay attention to your business associations.
Business associations, what do you mean?
Like the companies and people you do business with, if they have bad credit, it can affect you too.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so choose your partners carefully. Make sure they're financially responsible.
It's like their credit is my credit.
In a way, yeah.
Okay, good to know. I feel like I'm starting to get a handle on this whole business credit thing.
That's great. But we're not done yet. With all the AI and blockchain stuff, things are changing fast.
Oh, great.
So it's important to stay ahead of the curve. You ready to see what's coming next?
Yeah, let's hear it. What's the future of business credit look like?
Well, one of the coolest things is predictive analytics. AI can actually look at tons of data and predict what your business is going to need.
Predict what I'll need. Like, for credit?
Yeah.
That sounds kind of crazy.
I know, right? But imagine this. You're running your business, doing your thing, and in the background, this AI is looking at everything, like your cash flow, what's happening in your industry, even the economy as a whole.
Okay.
And then, based on all that, it can actually figure out what kind of funding you'll need in the future. It can even suggest specific loans or credit products.
Whoa, so it's like having a financial advisor that's also a fortune teller.
Yeah.
Okay, but will it actually tell me I need to apply for things?
It's not quite that simple, but you'll definitely have all the information you need to make the best decisions.
So no more guessing games. That's pretty awesome. What about blockchain? We talked about lending earlier, but are there other ways it can be used for business credit?
Well, one big one is credit reporting.
Okay.
Right now, it's all very centralized, which can be slow and kind of risky. But with blockchain, everything could be much more transparent.
So no more waiting weeks for my credit report to update.
Exactly. It could be instant.
That would be amazing. And wouldn't that make things more secure too?
Definitely. It's harder to hack a decentralized system.
So lenders get more accurate information.
Yeah.
And it's safer for everyone.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
But what about the security of, like, my data.
Oh, that's still really important. Even though blockchain is secure, you still need to use it responsibly and follow best practices.
Right, of course. This is all so fascinating.
Mm.
It sounds like the future of business credit is going to be wild.
You're telling me. And blockchain is still pretty new, so it's important to stay informed and be careful.
Yeah, definitely. This has been amazing. We've covered so much, from the basics of building credit to these incredible future possibilities. I mean, AI, blockchain, it's a lot.
It is a lot, yeah.
But I think the biggest takeaway is that business credit is always changing, especially in 2025.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important for business owners to stay informed and adapt.
Right, you have to be ready to embrace these changes and see the opportunities. Okay, before we move on to some common myths about business credit,
Yeah.
any other final thoughts on the power of AI and blockchain and all that?
I think it's really important to remember that even with all this fancy technology, the basics are still really important.
So, good spending habits, paying on time, all that stuff still matters.
Big time. The technology can help, but it's not magic. You still need to be smart with your money.
That's a good reminder. It's easy to get caught up in all the exciting new stuff.
Exactly. The key is to combine smart financial habits with the power of technology.
Awesome. Okay, we've explored the fundamentals, the future.
Yeah.
I think it's time to bust some myths about business credit. You ready for that?
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Let's clear up all the confusion and help people feel more confident.
All right, so myths about business credit. I feel like everyone's heard at least one.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And they can really hold people back.
Okay, so the first one, and I've heard this a lot, is my personal credit's great, so I don't need to bother with business credit. Like, can I skip it?
Nope, not at all. Your personal credit and business credit are totally separate.
But if I have a good personal score,
It can help, especially when you're starting out, but it's not a replacement for building a good business credit history.
so even if I'm like a one-person show, I still need to separate my personal and business finances.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. It protects me, and it shows that my business is reliable, like its own entity. Okay, myth busted. What about the time thing? Everyone says it takes, like, forever to build good business credit.
Well, that's not entirely true. It does take time and effort, but it's not impossible.
Oh, it's not like a 10-year plan.
No, no. With the right strategy, you can see results in months, not years.
So the sooner I start,
The better.
okay, that's good motivation. One more myth I hear a lot. Business credit is only for getting loans. Is that true?
Not even close. Business credit is about way more than just loans.
Like what?
Well, it can help you get better deals with suppliers,
Right.
lower prices. It can even help you get lower insurance premiums.
Really?
Yeah. Some insurance companies actually look at your business credit to see how risky you are.
So it's not just about money, it's about building a good reputation for my business.
Exactly.
Wow, I'm starting to see how important this is. It's not just some optional thing. It's crucial for any business, no matter what stage they're at. This has been an incredible deep dive, honestly. We've gone from feeling kind of intimidated by business credit to feeling like we can actually make it work for us.
I'm glad to hear that. That's the goal.
I think a lot of people listening are going to feel a lot more confident about taking those first steps.
Yeah, hopefully so.
So, to wrap things up, business credit in 2025, it's evolving. It can seem complicated, but it's definitely a superpower that every business owner should be trying to unlock.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.